Morning awakens gently over the ancient city of Athens. The first rays of sunlight spread across the horizon, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. Slowly, the light touches the marble peaks of the Acropolis, that sacred plateau where history and myth were born. The Parthenon, serene and majestic, stands bathed in soft gold, a timeless symbol of civilization itself. For over 2,000 years, it has watched this city rise, transform, and endure the eternal heart of Greek identity. Below, the streets of Athens begin to stir. The hum of morning life rises. Footsteps echo along stone pavements. The aroma of fresh bread drifts from nearby bakeries, and the faint murmur of conversation blends with the call of distant bells. Modern Athens awakens, alive and bustling, yet forever under the gaze of its ancient crown. At the foot of the Acropolis Hill, a different kind of monument glows in the new light. The Acropolis Museum. Sleek lines of glass and steel reflect the soft colors of dawn. Marble surfaces shimmer as if responding to the ancient stones above. Here, modern architecture pays homage to the classical past, a dialogue of centuries cast in light and shadow. The museum stands not in competition, but in harmony with the Acropolis itself. Through its transparent walls, the Parthenon remains visible, watching silently from its high perch. Inside, thousands of artifacts rest in quiet dignity, each one a fragment of human genius, preserved in the city where democracy, philosophy, and art were born. As the sun rises higher, the city becomes a living museum, every street, every stone whispering echoes of a glorious past. The light glides across temples, rooftops, and the museum's glass facade, merging the ancient and the modern into a single, golden moment. Dawn over Athens is not merely the beginning of a new day. It is a renewal of memory, a reminder that beauty, wisdom, and culture never fade. They simply awaken, again and again, beneath the timeless light of the Acropolis. The Acropolis Museum is more than a building. It is an idea brought to life. A vision of how the ancient and the modern can coexist, not as opposites, but as reflections of one another. Designed by the renowned architect Bernard Sch, in collaboration with the Greek architect Michael Foci, the museum opened in 2009 after decades of dreams, debates, and dedication. Its creation was not simply about housing artifacts. It was about giving the treasures of the Acropolis a home worthy of their beauty and their meaning. For centuries, these masterpieces had rested in smaller galleries, scattered or incomplete, waiting for a space that could truly honor them. The Acropolis Museum became that space, built with precision, reverence, and light. From the outside, its design is striking, minimalist, yet monumental. Glass, concrete, and steel form clean lines that rise naturally from the earth. Every angle, every shadow, every beam of sunlight is intentional. The structure mirrors the geometry and balance of classical architecture while speaking the language of the present. The building's transparency allows the city to breathe within it. Athens itself becomes part of the exhibit. Step inside, and the air feels alive with quiet reverence. Natural light floods through vast glass walls, revealing views of the Acropolis above. You are not simply entering a museum, you are stepping into a dialogue between centuries. The modern architecture does not overpower the past. It frames it, uplifts it, celebrates it. Even the layout of the floors follows a narrative from the ruins below, to the art of the people, to the divine beauty of the Parthenon sculptures above. Each floor leads you upward, as if ascending through layers of time. From the ancient homes, buried beneath the ground, to the gods of marble, who dwell in the heavens. It is a physical and emotional journey, one that reconnects us with our own origins. For in these walls, the story of Greece is retold, not as a relic of the past, but as a living voice that continues to inspire the world. The Acropolis Museum stands as proof that history need not be confined to memory. It can be reborn in glass, in stone, and in light. It is where the ancient spirit of Athens finds a modern heartbeat. Beneath the sleek, modern surface of the Acropolis Museum lies a world that time forgot. When the foundations of this museum were being built, archaeologists uncovered something extraordinary. The remains of an ancient Athenian neighborhood. Homes, workshops, courtyards, wells, and roads emerged from the earth, revealing the lives of ordinary people who lived here more than 2,000 years ago. Today, this buried city still lives preserved under glass for all to see. As you walk across the museum's transparent floors, you gaze down into history itself. Beneath your feet lie the stones of ancient houses, the outlines of kitchens and baths, the silent remnants of daily life. It is as if time itself has opened a window, allowing the voices of the past to rise and whisper once more. Through the glass, you can almost imagine the scenes that once unfolded there. Children playing in narrow streets, women drawing water from wells, artisans shaping clay and bronze under the Mediterranean sun, the hum of a living city that thrived in the shadow of the Acropolis Hill. Here, the great ideals of Athens' art, philosophy, democracy were not only conceived in temples and theaters, but also lived and breathed in the homes of its people. The architects of the museum made a remarkable choice. They did not hide these ruins. Instead, they embraced them, allowing the ancient neighborhood to become part of the building's very foundation. Massive concrete pillars rise above fragile walls, carefully positioned to protect what lies beneath. It is a feat of engineering and respect, a modern structure, literally built upon the past. Soft light filters down through the glass, touching the ancient stones with warmth. Visitors pause above the ruins, suspended between eras, the modern world reflected in glass, the ancient world sleeping below. This coexistence tells a story deeper than words, that the past is not gone, but carried within us, layer upon layer, foundation upon foundation. Here, beneath the Acropolis Museum, time stands still. It reminds us that history is not only displayed in cases or carved in marble, it is beneath our feet, within our cities, and alive in our memory. The museum's greatest treasure may not only be what is housed inside, but what it chose to protect below, a living bridge between ancient Athens and the world of today. The journey through the Acropolis Museum begins on the ground floor, a quiet yet powerful introduction to the rhythm of life in ancient Athens. Here, beneath the wide skylights and the gentle hum of visitors' footsteps, the world of ordinary Athenians unfolds, a world filled with art, devotion, and daily ritual. Rows of glass cases stretch across the vast, open hall. Inside them lie the delicate traces of human life. Terracotta vases, once filled with oil and wine, bronze tools, worn smooth by time, small figurines of gods and heroes, and fragments of painted pottery still alive with color. Each object tells a story of hands that shaped them, of hearts that used them, of lives that found beauty even in the simplest acts. The soft light filtering through the glass roof gives everything a gentle glow, as if time itself were illuminating these treasures. Visitors move slowly, almost reverently, as if walking through someone's memory. Every piece here once belonged to the people who lived at the foot of the Acropolis: craftsmen, merchants, mothers, philosophers, children, each a silent witness to the unfolding story of democracy, art, and human thought. On the walls, reliefs and statues of gods stand watch. Athena, protector of the city, gazing outward with calm strength. Apollo, radiant with eternal youth. And the serene forms of votive offerings, left by citizens seeking favor from the divine. These sculptures are not just works of art, they are expressions of faith, bridges between mortal and immortal worlds. In this gallery, you sense how deeply the ancient Athenians lived with their beliefs, how mythology, craftsmanship, and community were woven together into daily existence. Their tools, their art, their rituals all reflected a harmony between life and the sacred. It was a world where beauty was not a luxury, but a necessity, a way to connect with something greater, a way to remind oneself that the divine was always near. Every corridor and display whispers with echoes of laughter, work, and prayer. Each object, no matter how small, holds a heartbeat, a fragment of humanity preserved for millennia. Here, the Acropolis Museum does something magical. It allows us not only to see the past, but to feel it, to walk among the memories of a civilization that still shapes our world today. And as you stand among these ancient relics, you realize that the people who lived here were not so different from us. They sought meaning, beauty, and wisdom, and through their creations, they found a way to make time remember them. As you ascend to the next level of the Acropolis Museum, the light changes. It grows brighter, purer, almost sacred. The space opens wide, filled with natural daylight pouring through vast panes of glass. And here, surrounded by luminous stillness, you step into another era, the age of the archaic Greeks. This is the Archaic Gallery, one of the most mesmerizing spaces in the museum. Rows of statues stand gracefully in every direction, silent, elegant figures of young men and women carved more than 25 centuries ago. They are called kouroi and korai, idealized youths, symbols of beauty, strength, and devotion. Their marble faces are serene, their postures timeless, each one carrying a whisper of the human spirit that first gave life to stone. The gallery is arranged so that you can walk among them, not as a distant observer, but as a guest in their world. Sunlight falls upon their smooth surfaces, revealing faint traces of pigment, soft reds, blues, and golds, the faded colors of ancient paint that once made these sculptures vibrant and alive. It's easy to forget that Greek statues were not always white. They were once dressed in vivid hues, full of expression and energy. Here, you see them as they once were, radiant, alive, human. Each figure tells its own story. Some are votive offerings, placed in temples as gifts to the gods. Others honor the dead, memorials carved in love and memory. They capture moments between motion and stillness, the beginnings of realism, the birth of artistic freedom. From their eyes, large, almond-shaped, filled with quiet intensity, you can almost feel the artists learning how to give emotion to stone. Among them stands the pepless Kori, one of the museum's most beloved treasures. Her smile is calm and mysterious, the archaic smile, a symbol of confidence and serenity that defined an entire age. Her draped gown, carved with delicate precision, falls in perfect symmetry, yet seems to move with the light breeze of time. She looks neither at you nor away, but through you, across centuries, with a gaze that bridges the ancient and the eternal. As you walk further, Surrounded by dozens of marble forms, the sound of the city fades, replaced by silence, a silence filled with reverence and awe. It feels as though you are standing in a sacred grove, among spirits carved from light itself. The Archaic Gallery marks a turning point in the story of art. Here, sculptors began to understand anatomy, balance, and expression, learning how to make stone breathe. It was the dawn before the classical brilliance, the moment when imagination first reached toward perfection. The museum's glass walls open to the skyline of Athens, and beyond them, the Acropolis itself rises in view, a reminder of what these early artists would one day inspire. In this radiant gallery, time dissolves. You are not in the present or the past, you are simply standing in the presence of beauty that never fades. At the very top of the Acropolis Museum lies its crown, the magnificent Parthenon Gallery. Here, architecture and art converge into something beyond words. It is not merely an exhibition space. It is a reimagining of the Parthenon itself, reborn in glass, light, and air. As you step into the gallery, the world seems to open before you. Sunlight floods the vast, open room through floor-to-ceiling glass walls. The marble of the Acropolis glows in the distance, the Parthenon standing proudly on its hill, its reflection shimmering across the transparent walls. The museum and the monument gaze at one another, ancient and modern, in perfect dialogue. This space mirrors the exact dimensions and orientation of the Parthenon temple. Every column, every angle, every beam of light has been designed to honor the harmony of the original. It is as if the ancient temple has descended from the hill above and taken new form within this modern sanctuary. Around you, the story of the Parthenon unfolds. The friezes, metopes, and pediments are displayed in sequence, a grand marble narrative that once adorned the temple itself. Figures of gods, heroes, and mortals stand frozen in eternal motion. You see the struggle between centaurs and men, a symbol of reason triumphing over chaos. You see gods and goddesses seated in calm divinity, witnessing the procession of the Panathenaic festival, a celebration of life, unity, and faith. Each sculpture carries both power and grace, muscles caught mid-motion, robes rippling as if stirred by wind. Even in fragments, they possess a perfection that defies time. The artists of the 5th century BCE achieved something extraordinary. They captured the divine within the human form. Some of the original sculptures are here, glowing softly under natural light. Others, still housed in distant museums, are represented by precise plaster replicas, placed lovingly in their original order. Together, they recreate the Parthenon's complete story, while silently expressing Greece's enduring hope that one day, all its marbles may be reunited again, under the same Athenian sky where they were born. As you walk along the gallery's perimeter, the Acropolis remains in full view through the glass, always watching, always near. The sunlight shifts slowly across the marbles, casting shadows that bring the figures to life. At dawn, they glow with warmth. By afternoon, they shine with brilliance. And as evening falls, they fade into a soft, golden calm, a reflection of the temple above, which changes with the same light. The Parthenon Gallery is more than a museum room. It is a dialogue between art and architecture, between history and longing, between what was taken and what remains. Standing here, surrounded by these timeless forms, you feel the weight of centuries, but also a sense of peace, as though the spirit of Athens itself rests within these walls. In this space, the ancient world breathes again. The gods of marble return to the light, and the story of the Parthenon, its glory, its loss, its enduring beauty continues to live, not in ruins, but in radiance. The Acropolis Museum is not only a house for art, it is a living canvas of light and shadow. As the day passes, the sun moves across the Athenian sky, and the museum breathes with it, its glass walls, polished floors, and marble sculptures responding to every shift in brightness. Every flicker of gold. Morning brings a soft radiance, a pale warmth that glides across the galleries, touching faces of statues, tracing the lines of ancient carvings. The air feels fresh and sacred, as if the light itself carries whispers from the gods. By midday, the light sharpens, filling the halls with clarity. Every contour, every inscription comes alive, a reminder of the precision and brilliance of Greek artistry. Then, as evening falls, the sunlight melts into amber tones, turning the marble to honey and the glass to flame. The museum becomes a temple of light, not fixed, but ever-changing, like time itself. Reflections dance across the floors and walls. Visitors appear and fade, their images mingling with those of statues. It is a subtle reminder that we too are part of this continuum, that we are as transient and luminous as the light that moves through these halls. The architects designed it so to make light not a background, but a storyteller. Here, light reveals history, honors it, and then carries it forward. From every corner of the upper floor, the Parthenon is visible beyond the glass, its ancient columns mirrored on the surface of the museum's walls. The two seem to speak silently across time, one bathed in history, the other in reflection. The hill and the museum share a single breath, a single pulse that unites past and present in eternal conversation. At night, When the city grows quiet, the Acropolis Museum begins to glow from within, a soft, golden beacon rising from the heart of Athens. It shines not with the brilliance of display, but with the warmth of remembrance. The marbles rest peacefully under this tender light, and the glass facade glimmers like a memory preserved in time. From afar, it looks as though the museum itself is dreaming of gods, of artists, of the long journey of civilization. Here, light becomes history's language, and space becomes its echo. Every shadow, every reflection, every ray that touches the marble tells the story of how humanity continues to seek beauty even as centuries pass and empires fade. In the Acropolis Museum, light is not only seen, it is felt, it is remembered, and it makes the past shine once more. Beyond its beauty and light, the Acropolis Museum is also a sanctuary of science, a place where ancient art meets modern innovation. Here, history is not only admired, it is studied, preserved, and reborn through the precision of technology. Behind the quiet elegance of its galleries, a hidden network of laboratories and workshops hums with life. Archaeologists, conservators, and engineers work with delicate patience, restoring fragments of marble, tracing pigments, and studying every detail that time has tried to erase. Their task is sacred: to protect what has survived the centuries and ensure it continues to speak for centuries more. Every artifact in this museum, every sculpture, vessel, and carving is preserved under meticulously controlled conditions. Temperature, humidity, and light are constantly monitored, not just to prevent decay, but to give each piece the dignity it deserves. This is not simply conservation, it is care, a silent promise that what was created in reverence will be guarded with equal devotion. The museum also embraces the future. Interactive displays and digital reconstructions allow visitors to see how the Parthenon once looked in full color, its marble painted in deep reds, blues, and golds, its friezes vivid with life and movement. Virtual projections bring lost details back to light, revealing scenes long faded by time. Through technology, the ancient world is no longer distant, it becomes tangible, alive, and deeply human. Even the methods of study have evolved. Laser scanning and 3D imaging reveal the smallest chisel marks of ancient sculptors, their touch still visible, their craftsmanship immortal. Each discovery adds another piece to the puzzle of history, showing us how art and science have always walked hand in hand. The Acropolis Museum does not see preservation as a static act. It sees it as a dialogue between the past that must be honored and the future that must be informed. Here, technology does not overshadow history, it amplifies it, giving voice to marble and stone. It allows us to see the past not as something lost, but as something still becoming, still teaching, still transforming, still radiant with the light of human genius. And perhaps that is the museum's quietest truth, that preservation is not just about saving objects, but about saving the stories they carry. It is about ensuring that the whispers of ancient Athens continue to echo through the corridors of the modern world. The Acropolis Museum is more than a home for marble and memory. It is a conversation, one that has never ended, a dialogue whispered across centuries, between the living and the dead, between those who created and those who remember. Every step inside this museum feels like walking through time. From the ancient ruins beneath your feet, to the luminous galleries above, you move not just through history, but through the human story itself, of creation, devotion, and the eternal search for meaning. The museum stands as a bridge. Below, the city of Athens hums with modern life, cars, laughter, voices, and the rhythm of a living world. Above, the Parthenon rises in silence, its columns weathered, yet proud, its spirit unbroken by centuries of wind and war. And between them, between the ancient and the now, the Acropolis Museum listens, reflects, and speaks. It reminds us that time is not a straight line, but a circle that turns endlessly, that the thoughts of philosophers, the dreams of artists, and the prayers of ordinary people are never truly lost. They echo in our architecture, in our art, and in our endless desire to understand ourselves. Every visitor who walks these halls becomes part of that dialogue. You see your reflection in the glass, beside that of an ancient statue. Two lives, two moments, separated by millennia yet bound by the same wonder. For what is art, if not the attempt to speak across time? What is civilization, if not the memory we share? The Acropolis Museum carries this truth within its walls. It is not simply about the glory of ancient Greece, it is about the endurance of the human spirit, about how ideas survive even when empires fall, about how beauty, once born, never truly dies. Here, marble becomes a language, and silence becomes a form of speech. Through its glass and stone, the museum invites us to see not only what once was, but what still is, the continuity of thought, faith, and art that binds humanity together. It is a conversation that began thousands of years ago, and one that continues every time a visitor stands in awe, whispers a question, or feels that quiet spark of recognition, that we are all part of something eternal. The Acropolis Museum does not simply display the past. It reminds us that we are the future of that past, its inheritors, its storytellers, its next chapter. Evening descends gently over Athens. The sun sinks behind the hills, and the sky melts into shades of amber, rose, and violet. The city quiets, its ancient stones and modern streets bathed in the same warm light that once shone upon philosophers, artists, and dreamers. Far above, the Parthenon glows like a beacon, its marble turning gold, its columns standing strong against the fading sky. Below, at the foot of the sacred hill, the Acropolis Museum begins to shimmer in the twilight. Its glass walls reflect the colors of the sunset, each window holding a fragment of the sky. Inside, the sculptures rest in calm dignity, their forms softened by the golden light of evening. The day's final rays brush across ancient marble, as if bidding farewell to the gods who still dwell there in silence. As night approaches, the museum does not darken, it glows. From within, soft light spills outward, illuminating the stone paths and olive trees nearby. It feels as though the museum itself has become a lantern, carrying the flame of history through the endless night. Visitors linger quietly, gazing up at the Acropolis above, and down into the glass floors that reveal the city buried beneath. In this moment, all of Athens seems to exist at once, the ancient, the modern, the eternal. The hum of the city fades to a gentle rhythm, the sound of footsteps, distant laughter, a whisper of wind. And in that calm, something profound is felt, a sense that time has folded upon itself, that the gods of marble, the people of old, and we who walk among them, are sharing the same breath of evening air. The Acropolis Museum stands as a promise that beauty endures, that wisdom survives, and that the light of human creation never fades. It is more than stone and glass. It is memory made visible, a testament to what humanity can build when it listens to its past and dares to dream of its future. As the night deepens, the Parthenon glows softly against the stars, and the museum mirrors its light to reflections of one eternal story. Athens sleeps, but its soul remains awake, alive in every column, every sculpture, every heartbeat of this city. And so, under the vast Athenian sky, the dialogue between past and present continues, silent, luminous, unbroken. The Acropolis watches, the museum listens, and time itself stands still, bathed in the golden light of eternity.